Has a bowling point been reached as ongoing unsigned baseball free agents continue to hinder the spring training and ongoing offseason? Baseball continues to battle Nike over ongoing issues plaguing the uniforms for the 2024 campaign. The LA Clippers have a brand new identity to move into a brand new arena opening up in 2024 and 2025. And is it time to finally get rid of college court storming after a upset victory? That and more on a Monday edition of Press Row right now. This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information. Let's get a new week started here, folks, on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. A pleasant good Monday afternoon, everybody, and welcome into Press Row, another live edition coming away via the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network Facebook, YouTube channel, and the Callan McClurg Sports Twitch channel. Yours truly, Callan McClurg, back with you here from our home studios in San Diego, California. Wishing you and yours a great start to the new week here as we close down the month of February and ease our way into March coming up here over the course of the weekend. But again, folks, we are here on Press Row Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and sporadically on Fridays to bring you all of the big news of the sports day, but from the angles of the sports business and sports media landscape. We'll have all that, folks, and more here today. We're talking a lot of baseball and basketball here on today's program, from the college ranks down to the pros here this afternoon. But as always, folks, we invite your live input. Again, your questions, your comments, your concerns. We'll do our absolute best to, of course, make sure that your commentary is read live on the air here this evening. With that in mind, folks, let us get into the big board of topics for today's program. We're going to, folks, start off today over in baseball and the ongoing conundrum facing Major League Baseball as tension has been rising with the ongoing lackluster, anticlimactic baseball offseason as four key free agents are still unsigned. A week of Cody Bellinger signing yesterday with the Chicago Cubs, but Major League Baseball and the remaining free agents are still causing more tension between teams and the players. Key players that are still unsigned, like two-time Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman, and JD Martinez remain unsigned by any of the 30 Major League ball clubs. But of course, there is one small loophole. All four players are represented by infamous agent Scott Boras, who has criticized teams for not signing top players despite record MLB revenues exceeding over $11 billion. In retrospect, though, 19 current clubs are right now projected to have a lower payroll this season than last season. Notably, my San Diego Padres have cut their spending from over $256 million down to a whopping $145 million. MLB's Players Union may be filing a grievance sometime soon over reduced spending, but MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark says that they're still gathering more information before they decide whether to pursue a grievance. Spring training has already begun, yet these star free agents have not signed with any team yet for the upcoming season, and their ongoing availability is frustrating players and even some agents. This also spurred some comments made by Twins owner Jim Polid, who spoke with WCCO Radio recently and said that the Twins would not be signing a $30 million player right now, open and close quote. But some of those comments, though, made by Mr. Pollard could violate the ongoing baseball labor agreement, which prohibits both sides from publicly discussing unsigned free agents and their value or even contract terms. There's also been some reports, though, too, that Rob Manfred now wants to impose a 90-day window where all free agents must sign before the season does begin. You probably, folks, have heard us talk about this on numerous programs here on Coast to Coast. But again, I agree, though. This has got to be probably the most, lackluster, boring, and slow baseball offseason we have probably seen, I'd say, before COVID hit, I'd say 2019, 2018. And the fact that just 24 hours ago on Sunday, in the morning, Cody Bellinger finally signs a contract with the Cubs. I think 3 years, $80 million, plus maybe some incentives. Now, though, we still have Blake Snell, reigning National League Cy Young Award winner, World Series hero and champion Jordan Montgomery, Gold Glove third baseman Matt Chapman, and slugging DH JD Martinez. All four players still right now unsigned. Along with the fact as well, we're at the rate that Scott Boras is the lead representative agent of these four players. This is extremely concerning because I believe of the fact that we have talked so much on Coast to Coast about how this baseball offseason has just been stuck in neutral, where I think James has said it before, Brandon has said it before, where I think it's more of along the lines right now that owners don't want to fork out these lengthy long-term contracts. Now, part of this probably does hinge on the fourth bullet point here about how the Padres went out there and spent, but now they have cut their payroll back by nearly $100 million after trading away Juan Soto to New York back in December. And I know that big word about sustainability came to the forefront by the commissioner's office and by Rockies owner Dick Monfort during the offseason of 2023 and even in 2022. Okay, it's not panned out here in San Diego. We get that. But now one does wonder, though, if people or teams that are in this bubble, again, this 19-team range right here, or this, if you're looking at a pie chart, is this slice of the pie, these 19 teams, are they perhaps looking at what happened with San Diego about spending the big money on an extension for a Manny Machado, a Fernando Tatis Jr., that big deal for Xander Bogaerts when you already had, you already had Kim playing short, you had Cronenworth playing second, you don't have a true first baseman, you're still missing a left fielder and center fielder and a couple bats off the bench and at least two more bona fide starting pitchers. So I think, folks, that I am actually in line with Commissioner Manfred. I would actually like to see there be a 90-day or 120-day window from the day after the World Series ends. Anyone who's a free agent, you have 2 months. You have 120 days maximum to figure out your move. And if you can't get it done within those 2 months, there has to be some sort of ramifications where I think the agent gets docked pay from the contract. They don't because I believe that a lot of players put in in their contract language, well, hey, if I sign for X amount of money, this percentage of my contract will go towards my agent. I think you start dinging the agents. But I do think, though, that for anyone out there, and I hate to say this, Brandon, sadly, my friend, but we're not going to have a salary cap in baseball because the Players Association and the union is never, ever going to say we want a cap because they want to keep seeing guys like Ohtani and Machado and Lee and Yamamoto and Soto get paid these ridiculous amounts of contracts of $300, $400, $500, $700 million, even if that includes deferred money. But I actually would probably say I'm more in line and in tune, I'd say, that there needs to be a set time frame of when contracts have to be worked out. I think you have to probably go to a similar, not system, but a similar time frame when you also hear arbitration cases in Major League Baseball. You have like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or a week to present your case for arbitration. Free agency, I think, has to be at least kind of shifted because I think that having this much lackluster fanfare or this snail's pace for signing players, where again, the four biggest free agents, two pitchers, a third baseman, and a DH, are still out there. And we're now roughly 5 days into the spring season. Again, this mirrors a lot of like Eric Hosmer with San Diego signing right before spring training. Machado and Harper signing right before spring training. Now we're talking about guys signing in the middle of spring training. Where again, how does this throw off their, gelling with new teammates? How does this affect, the roster in general? How does this, I think I do believe there is going to be a ripple effect for how late in the offseason and now into spring training. There is a ripple effect, I believe, here, folks, that we probably have not seen because of how late in the year we are now with these guys signing these contracts. And the fact that 4 of these players are still out there is concerning. Where I believe that Tony Clark might be onto something here. You may have to file a grievance about reduced spending, like, okay, wait a second here. We had a small market club in San Diego, Tony Clark's hometown, spend $256 million last season. Now here they are slashing their payroll by $99 million practically, nearly, again, $100 million off their payroll, roughly, if not more. But again, the uncertainty, though, about how do we actually file this grievance. I don't know, though, if the players union, though, folks, has standing ground. I think, though, that the commissioner's office has to implement a new system of free agency. Where I think that Commissioner Manfred was right. Everyone better be signed within a 90 to 120-day period. And if not, who knows what happens. Now, I do think, though, too, that Jim Pollard, the owner of the Twins, though, his public commentary, I think, though, is right. Though I know he might get, like, fined or dinged because of the public commentary. But I think Jim shares a lot of sentiments that we all do for baseball fans. Not for the fact of, like, well, the Twins aren't going to sign, a $30 million player right now. I think more than anything else that Jim is sharing his frustrations with how this market has just been so damn slow, and that he feels the same pain, I think, that baseball fans are feeling because there's been just no drama. We knew that Ohtani was going to the Dodgers. We knew that Yamamoto was probably going to go to the Dodgers. We knew that the Padres were going to be reducing payroll because of Peter Seidler's unfortunate passing back in November. There were already a lot of predictable factors out there. But still, though, to not have any sort of drama, any pomp and circumstance around the offseason, other than Ohtani, this has been by far and in a way, in my opinion, the absolute worst baseball offseason in my near 30 years of being a baseball fan. Because now I think, though, from the player perspective, former player myself here at one point in time, how does a guy coming into camp so late affect team morale? I think it's more the issue I think I have with it is that more along the lines of, now there's been reports from Jeff Passan that Snell will go to the Yankees or Angels. How does that kind of, in a way, like throw that team for a loop, though, having a guy coming in the middle of spring training? Now, I know it's totally different, though, than a guy dropping in the middle of the season or at the trade deadline. But I think, though, when you're beginning to put your roster together for the regular season coming up in late March here, or if you're the Padres or Dodgers, you're going to begin your year playing in Seoul, South Korea in just under a month now, March 20th and March 21st. But, folks, if you're a baseball fan, give me your thoughts here. What's more, in a way, the best way that you would describe this offseason for baseball? I think it's lackluster. I think it's boring. It's slow. It's anticlimactic. It's lackluster. I think it's also alarming for the fact, though, that 19 ball clubs are projected to have a lower payroll than last season. Again, the Padres here cut their payroll dramatically from 256 down to 145. Them dealing away Soto. They have a lot of holes still right now with their outfield. Other than Fernando Tatis Jr., they have question marks right now in the rotation. Still some in the bullpen. They have some, too, on the bench right now. But again, folks, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman, JD Martinez still unsigned right now. The 4 big free agents right now represented by Scott Boras. Again, 19 of the 30 ball clubs are projecting to have lower payrolls this upcoming season. And there is some talk right now that the Players Union might be filing a grievance over the reduced spending. But again, Executive Director Tony Clark says that they're still gathering information to at least decide whether to push forward with that grievance. But however, though, I more think, though, folks, that Rob Manfred's right, though. There has to be a set time frame. Again, like I think he said, though, he wants 90 days, or I would probably go 120 days, where everyone has to be signed before the first spring training games open up or before teams go to camp to begin spring training. Because right now, that this is a mess that is beyond ludicrous and ridiculous. It is beyond ridiculous right now that these 4 big-name budding stars who, again, are Cy Young Award winners, World Series champions, or big-name players are still not signed. Now, again, it might be, again, about the owners not budging, but still, other than the grievance, it's simple as this. You implement that everyone who's a free agent, you better be signed on the dotted line within 90 days or 120 days after the World Series ends and the day before pitchers and catchers go to spring training. Simple as that. With that in mind, a couple of quick comments from my good man, Sean Mears, who says, yes, sir, and congratulations as well on Game 300 on Saturday. Did, in fact, have that, Sean. Thanks for, again, tuning in and for joining us here today. Let's, folks, move over to another baseball story, but the ongoing controversy, ouch, surrounding the brand new baseball uniforms that has been met with a lot of blowback and controversy, including some NSFW photos that have come out from media days across Major League Baseball. But after a week of issues, Nike has formally announced and released a statement addressing the ongoing uniform issues affecting Major League Baseball only a week after a week full of player criticism. And despite the uniforms being lighter and more flexible, but they are, though, see-through style. Nike's statement did read in part that they have put the athlete at the center and have worked with both the league to create what they're calling the most advanced uniforms in league history, and said that the quality is important and will continue working with both the MLB and the players. But Executive Director Tony Clark, though, said the see-through pants are a top concern right now among the players, calling it very disappointing that uniforms are the topic of discussion. Some players have been protesting silently by wearing old uniform pants due to the see-through nature, but also not all clubs have gotten the new pants yet, as the Padres wore old pants from last season in their opening spring training game against the Dodgers just last Thursday. This also harks back to the 2006 basketball season, where the NBA fielded with a brand new synthetic basketball for gameplay, with players complaining about the feel of the ball, and the league reverted back to leather-style basketballs. The frustration is also worth monitoring, as it has parallels to the NBA's uniform issues as well, and even, again, those synthetic basketballs back in 2006. You know, who would have thought, folks, that the worst baseball offseason would boil down to unsigned free agent big-name players and a changeover with uniforms? Now, I myself am a big logo junkie and jersey junkie. I literally have a bag underneath my bed here that is full of all the jerseys I've collected in my time as a sports fan. But I don't recall, though, folks, where a league has had so many problems with manufacturing the jerseys and uniforms and then having this much nightmare fuel literally a week after these images came out, though, that are just very, very concerning for the fact, though, of this is where we're at right now with uniform production. I also wonder a little bit, though, about if Nike's heart is really into it, but also Fanatics joining as well, though, is a little bit alarming and concerning, though, with how they will be taking over the NHL product, I believe, next season. So part of me wonders, though, if Nike has the time to get all this stuff ironed out. But also, what's more, and I wouldn't say it's laughable, but what's more, I think, in frustrating, I'd say though, is how do you not have all 30 clubs pants in stock? Like, how do teams not have that at their disposal? How do you not let that happen? Now, I think what's more, I think, alarming here is that it's the same exact jersey template that was worn during, I believe, the last All-Star game in Seattle last season. Now, I think the concern factor would be, well, the reason why it wasn't a big issue was because the see-through pants were disguised in color. Again, I think both teams wore Mariner colored style jerseys last season. But now that we have the white pants, we've seen some of the images again. Again, I'm not able to put those up here again on the stream today because again, that is a NSFW and expert content image. But also that this is not a good sign right now for Major League Baseball. To be having so many issues right now on your plate before you begin a new season again. Dealing with the A's problems right now, dealing with the Rays and what's going on with their stadium issues, dealing with, Trevor Bauer maybe getting back into the league somehow, some way, dealing with the ongoing issues of a very, again, slow, boring, stuck in neutral offseason. The jersey debacle becomes another thing on the plate right now of the baseball front office. And I think Tony Clark's right. It's such a big letdown, and it's so disappointing that it's the uniforms that become a big topic of discussion. Now, I think, though, that Nike, I don't want to say, folks, they've ruined sports, but for the fact, though, that they've now taken over the NFL product, they've taken over the NBA product, they are perhaps in a way helping Fanatics with the NHL product next season, and now with baseball. One has to wonder if Nike really has their heart into developing uniforms. Now, their statement might be very like a bluff or kind of like, again, blasphemous again, where they say that, yes, we're putting the athletes at the center of attention here and that we're working with the league front office and the players to, make the most advanced uniforms. Look, I love ambitious ideas. I get, though, that right now that the material that we have at our disposal is way advanced. It's not like wearing the wool back in the 90s or the pullover jerseys, and that we're trying to make it a little bit easier for the players to wear, more moisture wicking style uniforms because of the fact of, hey, we're playing games in the summer when it's brutally hot in certain markets. But one has to wonder, though, about how far can he push the envelope? I think Nike has pushed the envelope too far in the NBA. By having teams wearing 8 or 9 or 10 different styles of jerseys. I don't like the fact that I see the Lakers wearing purple at home. The Lakers and Celtics should be wearing their traditional colors at home. That means the Lakers wear gold and white at home, and the Celtics wear white with green lettering at home. None of this purple crap at home for the Lakers. None of this black crap for the Celtics at home. Or the Knicks wearing black at home. Your marquee franchises should not be affected by new jersey styles or your sometimes baloney ideas of City Connects for certain teams. Like, I knew the Dodgers weren't going to really embrace the City Connect program. And I hope to hell the Yankees don't embrace the City Connect program. Because there's a form of tradition that should not be interrupted by flashy jersey styles or the fact that it might sell better with merchandise sales. But certain teams should be excluded from ambitious ideas like what Nike has done, for example, in the NBA. Again, I don't like the Lakers wearing their purple road jerseys at home. I do not like seeing the Celtics wearing anything but white at TD Garden, or the Knicks not wearing white at Madison Square Garden, or the Bulls not wearing red at home. I don't like the Dodgers wearing anything but white at home and gray on the road. or the Yankees not wearing pinstripes at home, or their basic grays on the road that say New York in navy blue lettering. Same goes for the Red Sox. So I think that even just the simple fact that uniforms have become a major talking point in baseball kind of in a way tells you where the priorities are right now in the game. That we're not watching spring games right now to watch how our team's prospects might be doing, how the vets are looking. We're looking, though, about how many times that we can see through a guy's pant legs or see through his jersey to see what kind of undershirt he has on. Like, that is a big distraction. That is a major distraction. And I hope that they can somehow, some way conjure something up to get this mess figured out. And I agree, though, with the players who have been, in a way, kind of silently protesting, saying, I'm not wearing this crap until they figure it out. Now, could it be a thing, though, where, again, like the new pants aren't there for all the clubs yet? I think even if all the clubs get the pants in time, I do think, folks, that we will see more and more players wearing the old uniform pants. And I don't really care if Nike throws a bitch fit about it. I really don't. Because again, this is just nightmare fuel right now for a league right now in baseball who just has so many issues right now. But again, the simple notion that the jerseys and the pants have become a talking point of Major League Baseball adds again to this very, very, very lazy, stuck in neutral, lackluster, anticlimactic, boring offseason. And part of me does wonder, though, how much blame does Nike get? I think Nike gets a very big chunk of the blame. But I also think, though, it's also other factors about how they have, in a way, just added, I think, too many uniforms for teams to wear. Now, again, I love, though, that they have a thing right now in baseball. You can only do 4+1. You have your home jersey, your road jersey, 2 alternates, and a City Connect. Now, the Padres were grandfathered in, folks, because of the Padres having a very long-standing tradition of wearing military camouflage here in San Diego for the military. They've been doing that since the late 90s. The Padres were grandfathered the exception to wear more than 4 jerseys because they have been doing military camo. They've been doing Marine Corps and the Navy and Army camo every year, I believe, since 1997, I believe, if not longer. But I think, though, again, it just goes back to my point, though, that Nike, in my opinion, has ruined the NBA. Like, I literally do not own a Nike jersey that the NBA has put out. I still have all the Adidas ones from the 90s and in the now. But I think of it just more to the fact of, like, you are ruining tradition when you have the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Bulls not wearing traditional colors at home. Then you add in jerseys in the middle of the year if you made the postseason. Like, hey, you've earned this new jersey because you made the postseason. Stop. S-T-O-P. Hard stop. Though I know it helps with merch sales for the NBA and for the leagues, folks, just make it stop. Just make it stop. Teams should have a home jersey, a road jersey, a home alternate, a road alternate, and that's it. And then City Connect if you're in Major League Baseball. I think the maximum number you can have for a uniform set is 5. Not 7, not 9, not dropping them in the middle of the year because some team made the playoffs. Just make it stop. But again, folks, Nike has finally come forward with a statement in wake of a very big uniform issue right now in Major League Baseball. A week with handling right now, over a week right now of player criticism. And despite these new uniforms right now being lighter and more flexible, there are issues that they are right now see-through. Part of the statement does read that that Nike is putting the athlete at the center and have worked right now with the league to create the most advanced uniform in league history, saying that the quality is important and will continue working right now with both the league and the players right now. Our good man, Brandon Herrera, has chimed in and says, it's simple, Callan. He's right. Baseball's a kid's game. and the adults just seem to screw it up every time. I agree, Brandon, 100%. Could not agree more with that at this rate and at this point in time. With that, folks, in mind, we will move on into our next one. A new ID check. The Los Angeles Clippers, speaking of uniforms and logos, have dropped a new logo set, brand new uniforms, and a brand new playing court design for the upcoming 24-25 NBA season, which marks their first season at their brand new, very brand new and beautiful new home arena called Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. The new logo will actually feature a stylized C with a compass that points inside, representing the naval roots in San Diego, California. It also will have a basketball, seams and colors of navy blue, red, light blue, and gray. The new uniforms have a updated Clippers wordmark, thin light blue stripes, and contrasting arm and color striping. Primary logo on shorts and the LA script on a waistband. Statement edition is red with the best-known Los Angeles wordmark and nautical flags of spelling LAC for Los Angeles Clippers. And the new striping pattern on the shorts, primary logo, and a Clips wordmark. The playing court will have the primary logo at midcourt, navy key, red half circle, a Los Angeles wordmark in latitude, longitude of Inglewood, light blue as well for the Intuit Dome logo. And second court design is coming later with a brand new City Connect edition, or City Edition uniform, I should say. I do, folks, have the logo for the Clippers, courtesy of one of the, if not the best guy in charge of logo designs. That would be Chris Creamer, who runs sportslogos.net. So here's the logo, folks, for the Clippers. Again, it's a navy blue circle with a updated Clippers wordmark with the front of the Clipper ship coming forward with, again, the north, south, east, west of the compass and a brand new C, light blue, navy blue, and red, a white wordmark as well. So that is the new primary logo for the Clips. Coming up this upcoming 24-25 campaign, the Clippers will also debut six different logos. The global logo, the main primary logo without the wordmark around it, the alternate logo, a secondary LA logo, and then a kind of updated 1970s, 80s, somewhat 90s era Clippers wordmark with both Clippers and Clips updated as well. And 3 new jerseys, including a red jersey, home white, and a navy blue with, again, that Clippers wordmark across the front, but also the red jersey will have Los Angeles across the front of it and bring back the naval flags that spell out the word or acronym of LAC. Folks, I will admit this right here and right now. The Los Angeles Clippers and the Houston Rockets have a soft spot in my heart. Even as a Los Angeles Laker fan, those two teams have a soft spot in my heart. The reason being, folks, is whenever a franchise relocates and moves to a new city, very seldom does that franchise, once they move, do they honor their old market. The Rockets last season wore the San Diego Rockets green and gold color scheme on their City Edition uniforms. The Clippers have kept the San Diego nickname since they left here about 40 years ago for Los Angeles. And they have made it a very big point of emphasis to continue to reach out to the San Diego community. Unlike another LA-based team who jumped ship and said we never played in San Diego. But the Clippers, though, have really, I think, done it the right way, though, of honoring their past market, including, I'd even throw the Warriors in there, too, with how they had the We Believe era Warriors wordmark that spelled out Oakland, I think 2 years ago on their City Edition uniforms. Now, yes, there's no lakes in LA and there's no harbor for a Clipper ship like there is here in San Diego. But the Clippers, though, have always had a soft spot in my heart for the fact of they may have left our market here in San Diego, but to keep the team name and to still, though, in some capacity, reach back out to our local community here has kind of, in a way, made me, again, a bit of a fan of that franchise because, again, it's very, very rare in sports that a franchise who leaves an old market even attempts to revive their relationship with that old franchise. You know, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have come out to Padre games, as is Norman Powell. Again, both Norm and Kawhi have San Diego ties, either playing high school basketball here or going to San Diego State. But also for the Clippers franchise, folks, I'm just kind of going through some of the logos here again that they dropped today in their uniforms as well here as well. I think it's important, though, that this franchise has their own place to play. Because a lot like the other franchise who had left San Diego, they will always be second fiddle. But I think, though, with them going to a brand new arena next season in Inglewood, in the Intuit Dome, and also, I think a long overdue rebrand. Again, keeping the colors the same, though, but again, some past nostalgia. But I think, though, the fact of I still see San Diego through the Clippers. The team name, the logo now having the front end of the Clipper ship, again, based off the Star of India here in San Diego. Even like the numbers almost harken back to the World B. Free era Clippers here in San Diego. The early era Clippers in LA with that word mark being updated. And again, having the nautical flags that spell out the LAC acronym. The navy blue, a nice touch. Adding in that navy, keeping the red for like the road jersey. Again, having the nautical flags on the jock tag, having them on the sleeves or the under panels, though, again. Honestly, I like the rebrand. But also for the fact, again, how often do we see a team actually still connect with their past roots? Again, this is a franchise who's been in Buffalo, New York. They've come to San Diego. And I actually think that this is actually a very well-done rebrand. Again, it does have the current-day Clipper colors of the navy blue and the red. The light blue, a nice touch again to their days back here in San Diego where they were powder blue and orange back here. I do, in fact, like the fact that they have the front end of the ship inside of the sea. I love the compass touch to go with it as well. Again, other logos here once more. I like the primary without the word marks surrounding it. The partial logo is pretty cool. Again, having the C with the compass part of it. Not really digging that LA secondary logo. And again, the word marks, though, again, Clippers and clips for the jersey. Again, hearkening back to their early days in LA with, their first kind of true jerseys, I guess, when they came to Los Angeles in the mid-'80s. I do like that they're embracing the clips part of their name, though, too, as well. Again, jersey-wise, once more, the white and the blue having the Clippers word mark across the front. I'm sure that the City Edition will have just clips again across the front. But I actually kind of give this a pretty good bill of health, though. I think it was just more important for a franchise, again, who's been so lost in the shuffle, though, in the greater LA community to open a new era. Again, and I actually think, and I think this is a good parallel. I think back when the Padres first went to Petco Park 20 years ago, and the Padres went from their blue and orange era to navy blue and sand and totally changed their branding. The Padres had a home plate as part of their logo with a cursive word mark. They had the waves underneath for the surf here in San Diego. And they also wore all beige on the road. Almost like how they don't wear gray now. They wear brown or light brown on the road for games now with how they changed their branding. But also for the fact of it was starting that new chapter of brand new stadium, brand new arena in the Clippers case. Now let's start a new chapter with our branding. But again, for me, it's just so cool. Because again, we don't see franchises embrace their past. The Clippers, again, earn so many great points, and so do the Rockets, for them honoring their time here in San Diego. Now, again, this might be, well, you live in San Diego. We get it. You love your hometown. But again, it's from that other perspective, though. How often, other than maybe the Hurricanes in the NHL wearing the Hartford Whaler jerseys, the Warriors running the We Believe era Warrior jerseys for their city editions when they first went to San Francisco after they left their market. The Clippers have done the powder blue and orange. They've done the red and powder blue from their days in San Diego. The Rockets finally embraced San Diego wearing their green and gold. Again, how often do we see franchises look at the past and actually embrace a former city that they played in? And the Clippers and Rockets have done that for so long after they left San Diego. Now, again, the Rockets fit, though, because, again, they're in Houston. Again, Houston, we have a problem over. And NASA having history in Houston. Again, the Clippers, though, again, no real history in L.A., born in Buffalo, raised in San Diego, went to L.A., behind the Lakers for so long as the second fiddle JV team or the redheaded stepchild, though. Again, there's no harbor for a Clippers ship in L.A. anywhere, or for that matter, for the Lakers to be called the Lakers still. But, though, keeping that not even tradition, but just keeping that branding alive, though. But also, I know that San Diego has become a very big Laker town, though. But this kind of like very interesting but cool like Padre and Clipper relationship. Again, like I said, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell have been at Padre games. I think they came out during the postseason in 2022. Again, the fact, though, of Kawhi and Norm having San Diego ties, again, Kawhi playing here at SDSU, again, Aztec for life. Norm Powell playing his high school basketball here at Lincoln High School. Just, I think it's cool, though, to see that a franchise who may not have played in that town for so long may have, left on bad terms, like the NFL team, but that the Clippers still, though, want to reach out to San Diego. That's why that the Clippers and the Rockets have a place in my heart. Because I did not grow up, though, when I was growing up with an NBA franchise in San Diego. The Clippers were gone 10 years before I was born. But again, folks, the Clippers beginning a brand new chapter in their franchise history, dropping a brand new logo set on Monday as they prepare to go into the brand new Intuit Dome next season in Inglewood, California, which includes a brand new primary logo of a Clipper ship, again, based off the Star of India here in their time in San Diego, inside of a navy blue circle with a light blue trim and red trim with the word mark, and also kind of fitting, though, at the north compass point points to the N in the word Los Angeles. The team will also be having a brand new uniform set, which will include a brand new navy blue jersey, a white jersey, and the traditional red jersey as well, with 2 updated word marks and a potential city edition jersey coming as well. But again, I give this a clean bill of health, though, because like I said, though, folks, not often do we see a franchise leave a market and still want to honor and respect their time in that previous market. And again, I also think, though, again, where the Padres and Clippers have kind of had this very interesting but very cool like relationship, though, again, like I said, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Norm Powell coming out to a couple of Padre playoff games. I believe Steve Ballmer came out to a couple of games as well. Now, there has been, though, and I don't want to go too far in depth here, but there has been some spattering of talk, though, of the Clippers potentially moving their G League franchise from Ontario, California to San Diego. But again, there's been nothing really put forth here, but that might be one thing is, again, to kind of keep an eye on. But I honestly will give this a clean bill of health, though. Of course, Brandon also says that he will pass on the new logo. Again, Brandon, I don't mind anyone's thoughts here again. I just more so am from the vantage point again. Not often does a franchise move out of a previous market like the Clippers have twice already and really embrace their roots. Because again, Brandon, look at the NFL team who left San Diego. They want no part in saying, we played in San Diego for 56 years. We are all about Los Angeles. The Clippers do it, though, the right way, I think. Look, we've moved twice, but we want to still, though, honor our past in Buffalo. They wore the Buffalo Braves throwbacks a couple years ago. We also want to honor our time in San Diego. They've done their powder blue and orange throwbacks when they were in San Diego. They've done a couple of like modern day twist on the blue or on their time in San Diego. Now here again, the team again still has that team name from San Diego. They brought light blue back into the color scheme. They still want to honor that past. And now having the ship actually a part of it is absolutely incredible. So, again, maybe you pass on the logo, Brandon, but once more, I'm from the viewpoint, again, of honoring your past. Now, again, I know it may be weird, though, Brandon, again, about like what I said, though, about the A's staying in Oakland because of what's going on right now with the stadium issues. It's that very weird divorce or breakup. I don't know, though, if that could be compared with the Clippers here. But again, maybe you pass on the logo, but again, I personally think it's cool. But also, like I said, though, as well, though, Big B. And honestly, this might be a very, like, close point, though. Usually it seems like whenever a team opens up a new arena, new stadium, for example, that ushers in a new chapter. Again, the Padres did that with Petco Park 20 years ago. The Clippers did that when they first went to L.A., and now here they are going into their own home arena. New chapter. New arena equals a new look in new branding. So I absolutely think it is awesome to see, though. But again, folks, the Clippers dropping a brand new set of logos and 3 new jerseys as of Monday as the club goes into the brand new plush estate that is Intuit Dome next basketball season. One final story today, folks. A court storming is brewing in wake of a upset victory by Wake Forest over Duke. Sadly, though, the court storming goes haywire as a Wake Forest fan injures Duke basketball player Kylo Flipkowski, who suffered a sprained ankle as a fan, happened to bump into him and did, in fact, injure the Duke player after the upset victory. This also, folks, has continued the ongoing discussions about banning court storming and field storming after a upset victory at the college level. On Monday's edition of ESPN's First Take, lead college basketball analyst Jay Billis said that court storming could easily be stopped, saying in part to just detain the fans and give citations or arrest them. Court storming would stop imminently. Jay also blamed the fan bases, the schools, and even the media for encouraging the practice, with fans feeling entitled. Schools like the attention, and the media loves the images of the court or field being stormed. Jay also spoke about how conferences are now issuing fines if fans rush the field or the court, saying in the SEC, the conference has deemed that a violation that will cost you a fine of at least $100,000. But yet, though, the South Carolina president stormed the court recently, and the president, Imistrius, ran out and promoted it on his own social media channels. Also, in agreement with CBS Sports' Seth Davis, who agreed with Billis and said that court storming does not happen in the NBA because of the potential of handcuffs being shown. I, folks, as you probably know, work in college athletics, and I am about ready to work my my first ever conference tournament coming up in a week here in San Diego for the D2 basketball season. I remember very well, though, when Point Loma men's basketball hosted the regional tournament in 2019, and they won it all, and they ended up going to the D2 Elite Eight, their March Madness. I remember in the very closing minutes of this close game that they won, that security was in place already, and they had barricaded off any entranceway onto the playing court because of the potential for the court being stormed. They would only let family on the court well after the net was cut down for photos with the trophy and the net being cut. But now, folks, we have 2 instances now within the last several weeks here. Callan McClurg, biggest name right now in women's college basketball, being injured by a fan storming the floor when Iowa got beat by Ohio State, I believe. Along the lines here as well, right now as well, with the Duke player, Kyle Flipkowski, who was injured, suffered a sprained ankle because of the fans being out of control storming the floor when Wake Forest beat Duke over the weekend. Believe me, folks, there's enough security and enough law enforcement at these games where you can stop this crap from happening. Now, I also recall that my own conference, the West Coast Conference, levied out their own fine against Santa Clara for storming the floor when they beat Gonzaga earlier this year. It sadly, folks, is a tradition, I know, when your team gets that upset victory. But right now, I think that time has come and gone. And I think Jay Billis and Seth Davis are right. You know, I don't know, though, if I agree, though, with Jay Billis, though, that you can just, like, give out a ticket or a citation. That's not going to stop everybody from storming the floor. I would think it would have to be almost similar to how we see, like, high-ranking police officers of the police department who are surrounding the coaching staffs after NFL or after NFL and even college games when they go shake hands. I don't think, folks, that there's a right way to ban this sort of stuff from happening collegiately with either the field being stormed or the court being stormed. If I need any example of the worst time that this sort of stuff happened, let's just think back to Cal Stanford in '82. Yes, I wasn't alive, folks. I know that, for God's sakes, but I've seen the video so many times. But just think back to the band being on the field during Cal Stanford and the trumpet player who got absolutely railroaded by the Cal player who ended up winning the game with the touchdown. That right there was the epitome of what can happen when the field is stormed by fans, or for this matter, the Stanford band. But that whole sequence of events, folks, that should be plastered everywhere about this is what can happen if you choose to storm the court or the field if your team wins the game and you upset the number one team in the top 25 in football or basketball. And I agree, though, that Jay Billis is right, though, that the media loves this attention. But also, why is there a media double standard? Why do we not show those idiots who streak across the field, though, at games, but we absolutely have to show the student section rushing the floor when their school upsets Duke or beats the number one team in college basketball, or they beat the number one team in college football? We applaud that crap, but we don't want to show people running on the field, though, who are drunk out of their minds, though, as Kevin Harlan said. Guy is drunk, but there he goes during an NFL game. We don't want to promote that garbage, but we promote the garbage that is, though, of students and fans rushing the field and the court, though, which has now led to 2 injuries or 2 issues where players have been affected by the opposing fans storming the field and storming the court. If it's not Cal Stanford, but it's the number one thing to remember, do I have to bring you back to LeGarrette Blount absolutely dismantling that one fan who was overzealous, and LeGarrette Blount sucker punched that fan after, I believe, Oregon beat his school, and that fan got punched in the face because of him celebrating the team winning the game by storming the field? You can easily get rid of this crap. And I think, though, but Jay Billis is absolutely right. You know, fans are to blame. The schools are to blame for allowing it to happen. And that he even called out his own colleagues in the media for encouraging this crap to happen. Now, I don't know, though, about the entitlement of the fans. I believe it's the last 2 bullet points there in bullet point 4. The schools love the attention, and the media loves the images. Do they love the images, though, of Callan McClurg getting absolutely trampled by the overzealous OSU fan after they beat Iowa? Do they love the attention given from the Wake Forest player spraining the ankle of a player on the Duke basketball team? I've heard crickets. The fines are one thing. But also, like I said, though, the schools love the attention. Look at the fact in bullet point 5. South Carolina wins a game, and the school's president, Amistrius, runs out onto the court and then promotes him doing it on his social media feeds. Like, come on, man. And Seth Davis is right. Could you imagine, though, in the NBA, if the Pistons beat the Lakers, for example, at home for like win number 5 of the year, and they beat LeBron James in the Lakers, Could you imagine how many fans would be arrested and locked up in the Who's Gal for storming the court if the Pistons beat the Lakers, for example, which I believe they did? But could you imagine like that lowly NBA franchise out there beating the number one team in the league in the middle of December? Could you imagine how much of a nightmare that would be for the NBA if fans stormed the floor? But also, you want to know why as well that fans have stormed the floor in the NBA? For another like poster child moment like Cal Stanford or LeGarrette Blount? The malice in the palace. You really think fans want to storm the floor, after that debacle that happened about 20 years ago? This can easily be eradicated from college athletics. Easily. Now, I don't know if it's beefing up security with, the campus police or public safety. You bring in more law enforcement from the city. Or honestly, I think what you do, though, as well, and I've seen this as well at San Diego State, they have a purple team of security guards who enforce alcohol policies. And it works. So there has to be a better solution. I get that you want that, again, that we love the attention that we get for storming the floor in the field here, folks. But now that we've had two very big red flags raised here, because Callan McClurg gets the wind knocked out of her after a game in women's basketball, and Duke basketball player Kyle Flipkowski suffers a sprained ankle because of Wake Forest fans storming the floor. So, folks, I've already name dropped or have listed 4 key instances that I believe should lead to something happening where field and court storming becomes banned. Cal Stanford with the Stanford ban back in '82. LeGarrette Blount sucker punching the fan after the game was over. Callan McClurg, Wake Forest, Duke basketball. Those are 4 things right there. And I believe the next time this happens and another big name superstar or a player in general gets hurt because of fans storming the playing surface, then that needs to begin sounding the alarm. Call Scotland Yard. You have to figure out something here. The fine's one thing, but the schools pay those off. I think what you do, it may not be pretty, but I think it would work. You start doing what FIFA does for offensive chance towards the goalkeeper. If you storm the court, you storm the field, and somebody on the opposing team gets injured, or a fight breaks out amongst the players of the opposing school and your fan base, your consequence is simple. Nobody is allowed to come watch. You go back to the COVID days. No fans whatsoever. Yeah, would that be harsh for like the Alabama football fans or the Georgia football fan base or the UConn basketball fan base? Maybe. It might be harsh. Tell you what, though, you do that, maybe that begins to tell people you better fess up and wake up. And that right there, I think, is what would stop court storming and field storming. You start forcing teams to lose their home field advantage. Just like FIFA would do if you would hear the offensive goalkeeper chant or offensive slur thrown the way of the goalkeeper during a FIFA soccer match. You fine them. You fine the school. You find the AD's office. That can work. But I think if you want to really clamp down on this garbage, where, again, I said that there's a double standard here again where they don't show the streakers, but they'll show this crap, though, of people storming the court, though, in the field, where, again, we've had players of the opposing team punching out fans' lights. LeGarrette Blount, Cal Stanford and the band running on the field when the game was not over. Callan McClurg, and now Duke basketball. It's simple. The fines won't stop fans from acting this way. You can have all the security you want, though. Law enforcement, public safety from the school. But I think it's simple as this, though. If this crap continues to happen and we have more and more big name players in football and basketball getting injured by the fans acting out of control because they won a game and may have pulled off that upset victory, though we love seeing it happen, you start banning fans from coming to games. You impose a one-game ban. We are playing this game with no spectators because our fan base stormed the field, stormed the court, and happened to injure a player on the opposing team. That'll stop it very quickly, I'm sure. If you resort back to where we were with COVID, where schools in certain states would not play with, cannot play games with fans, that would probably tell people to snap out of it. Look, I'd be all in favor if you were able to celebrate with the team after the game on campus somewhere. But not on the field of play, though, when the other school is trying to get off the field or off the court. And I get we love seeing it happen, though, when a team wins the conference title at home and the fans storm the court to celebrate with the team. But again, I think that field and court storming could easily be banned. It's a matter, though, of do these schools want to actually put the manpower in place, put the wheels in motion, and actually stop it. And I think Jay Billis is so right, though. That the schools like the attention and the media love sharing images. But again, they won't share those images, though, of those people who run onto the field, though, and streak. But they will show this other garbage, though, of fans who've already had a six-pack of beer, probably, if not more, running onto the floor or the field because their team beat the number one team in basketball or football. Yet they also happen to injure the biggest name right now in women's college basketball, in Callan McClurg. And they also injure Kyle Flipkowski of Duke men's basketball. And I think, though, that you do have to kind of think back, though, to the Stanford band being on the field in 82, though Cal won the game. And then LeGarrette Blount punching out the lights of the Boise State fan after they lost to Boise State. Again, I literally dropped 4 examples of how bad fans or interference from the fans on the field can be, or the court can be, within this last segment. And I'm sure there's probably more. But I don't know, though, folks, if there's a clear solution. Other than I say it's simple. You start imposing bans on fans showing up to games like FIFA does if we hear the offensive goalkeeper chant during games for international soccer. Yeah, it might be harsh. But sometimes you have to learn the hard way that this crap is not going to fly anymore in college athletics. Simple as that. But again, folks, great show today. Glad to be back with you here. We have a full week once more of shows here again for Press Row. We'll be back with you folks again on Wednesday and Thursday this week at 1 o'clock Pacific time back here on Coast to Coast Entertainment. We will see folks back here again on Wednesday. A big thank you again to Sean and Brandon for chiming in today and for all of our viewers again across Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch here this afternoon. But with that, folks, we'll see you back here again Wednesday afternoon for our next installment of Press Row back here on C2C. With that, folks, have a good day.